So just to take permission and to let us know that I'm recording. So Nathan is the CEO of Modron Spaces, and he's going to be sharing with us Modron Spaces, the advantages of a blended audio and video ODR platform this afternoon. So without much ado, I'll just pass on to Nathan Polito to share with us what he has for us this afternoon.
Thank you, Monique, and very nice to meet you all. Thanks for making the time. I really appreciate it. I'll just go ahead and jump right into the demo. So I'm just going to share my screen first. Monique, can you just confirm you can see my screen okay?
Yes, I can, Nathan.
Excellent. Okay. So as we were saying, I'd like to demonstrate our platform, which we call Spaces today. Everything that we'll be seeing will be from the perspective of a mediator or an arbitrator, and just to keep that in mind. So the first thing you'll do when you log in, you can either create a case, or I've set up an example case for us to look at. So I'll go ahead and enter that example case and explain a few of the concepts. So the first thing you'll see is what we call case view, which is an overview or high level view of every case. At the top, we have some details which can be determined when you create the case, but they can also be edited at any time. The case name, the description. With the tags, you have the option to classify your cases in any way that makes sense. So perhaps the type of matter, or the stage that the matter's at, anything that really helps you classify your cases, and then you can build dashboards and reporting off that, which I'll touch on quickly in a little bit. And then beneath the details section, we have the team section. So I'd just like to focus on the concept of teams for a minute. So all the participants that you bring into a case should be grouped according to their relevant team. So hopefully you can see that in this demonstration case, we've got 3 teams. And firstly, the operations team is the only constant or required team in a case. And that can consist of anyone who has a role to play in managing the case or facilitating the case. So it could very well just consist of an individual mediator or an arbitrator. In other settings, organization settings or tribunal settings, it could include listing staff, registry staff, support people, administrators. Anyone who has a role in managing the case can be in the operations team, and you can add and remove people at any time. Then you would typically have at least 2 other teams. You can name the teams in any way that makes sense. Common example would be applicant and respondent. And then you would have all the relevant participants under each team. So there is no limit on the number of teams you can have. So quite often very complex matters with multiple responding parties and many different participants are conducted on the platform. And there's also no limit on the number of participants that you can have in a case. So hopefully that makes sense at a high level. We're just going to move through fairly quickly. But underneath teams, we have the Spaces section. Now, this platform's called Spaces, which is a clue to how important we think this concept is. I might just give you an idea, firstly, what it looks like to create a space. So the mediator or arbitrator or member of the operations team can create a space at any time. And it's a very simple but flexible model. So you start off by giving the space you want to create a name with the label. I'm going to set up a case note space for myself. And then you describe why the space exists with the description. And then you decide who has access to the space. So for this purposes, I'm just going to create a private space just for myself. And then when you click submit, the space will be created. So you can think of a space as a room that facilitates communications to take place. And some of the common structures that we're seeing in a case would include something like an everybody space where everyone in the matter has access and can collaborate. It's common to have a space set up that's private for the applicant and the mediator, or party A and the mediator, a space for the respondent and the mediator, or party B and the mediator, and so on. Commonly, we'll see a space being set up for the legal representation of either side to conference. And also perhaps you might see something like a council space where council of either side can conference privately there. Typically also see an operations space where you might have a case support officer or a co-mediator, and you can conference privately in that space. And for example, I set up a case note space where I might make my private case note. So there's no rules on how you structure spaces. This is just I guess a common setup to give you an idea of what would be possible. And just to unpack the concept of spaces a little bit more, while you can have any number of spaces in your case, the participants, the parties to a matter, will only see those spaces that you have provided specific access to. So when the applicant logs in, for example, they will very likely not see the respondent space or the legal rep space, counsel, and so on. And any other space that they don't have specific access to will be completely invisible to them, completely inaccessible, to ensure privacy and confidentiality. Now, you can also have any number of concurrent video calls going on in any or all of your spaces, and it's a very simple process to move between those video calls in those spaces. So very easy to facilitate joint session and moving into private sessions, and switching between those spaces is a very fluent and easy process, which we will demonstrate quickly. So that's the concept of spaces, and we will look at that in a little bit more detail. Just while we're in the case view, there is some other information from a matter that will aggregate here, the files that have been shared. If you choose to use the issue and resolution tools, you can manage them here as well. And you can also archive a case, which we'll touch on quickly. But from here, I'm going to actually go into a space to give you an idea of what's possible from the communications perspective. So I'm going to jump into the everybody space, which you can do at any time on the left side here, the main navigation. And to switch spaces, it's just one click and you'll jump right into that space. So the first thing I'll point out is that all the participants of a space can communicate via text. So everyone can just type a message and hit enter, and those communications can take place at any time. The next thing we'll look at is how you can start or join a video call. So in every space, there'll be a blue phone icon in the top right, and you can click on that at any time, and it will show you a drop down of all the spaces that you have access to. And to join a call in any of those spaces, you just click on the space. So if I want to join a call in the everybody space, I'll just click there once. If I'm not already on a call, I'll have the option to check my video and microphone. My video is currently transmitting through Zoom, so it won't show up here, but when you're happy, you can join the call. And if there's any other participants on the call, they'll be visible here. And whether there's 2 or 20 people, the interface will scale to fit everyone on the call here. There are a couple of video modes, so you can toggle a full screen mode or back to all minimized view. And this icon here, the next view will be speaker mode, where the person that's currently speaking will be the one in focus. And you can also lock the view on any of the other participants in the matter, which can be useful if you want to see perhaps an expert witness's reactions while they're giving evidence, or the respondent's reaction. You can lock any participant in for the major view. And the third mode we have is a clickable and draggable tile that will enable you to place the video feed anywhere on the screen that makes sense. And this can be really useful if you're doing any other type of work on the platform. So perhaps you might be drafting an agreement or looking at documents. You can stay engaged on the call, but have a lot more screen real estate to work with. So from here, just to give you an idea, a member of the operations team does have a lot of control. So unfortunately, we haven't organized for anyone else to be online, but if any of the other parties are online, you can invite them to join you in a call, and they'll get a nice clear pop-up on their screen, like an incoming video phone call, and they can just accept that and be joined in the call. But the other way that you can move between calls, and every participant has this ability, is you can click on the blue phone again, and you can see we're currently on a call in the everybody space. But if I wanted to join a call in the respondent space, I just click there once, and I'll automatically be disconnected from the call I'm currently on, and I'll automatically be connected to that call I selected. So you can see we're now on a call in the respondent space. And it's only me at this stage, but similarly, if I wanted to go into the applicant space, again, I just click on the blue phone and then click on the applicant space. I'd automatically be disconnected from the call I'm currently on and then connected to the call in the applicant space. So this makes it really easy to, as we said before, facilitate the movement between private sessions and joint sessions, and any combination of video calls that is made possible by how you set up the spaces. So I'm just going to now have a look at some of the other tools and features that are available within a space, and just keep in mind that everything that we're looking at, all the different communication options, can all be used together. So you can remain on a video call and still leverage all these other tools that we're going to look at now. So in the bottom right of every space, you'll see this plus icon, and clicking that will reveal some of the other tools that are available depending on your role. So for the mediator, you'll see quite a lot of options, as we're seeing here. The parties to a matter will have a much more restricted set of options. They'll be able to upload files and record messages. Everything is configurable, but that's the standard kind of setup. So I'm just going to move through these tools at a fairly high level. At any time, you can use the create resolution or create issue tools, and the create issue tool enables you to formalize issues in the matter and structure an agenda that you might work through with the parties. So you can see when you create an issue, it's formalized in the space, and issues can be worked with in a number of ways in the platform. For example, this sidebar that always exists on a space can be toggled at any time, and certain information will aggregate here, but for the example, the issues enables the mediator to mark off an issue as resolved, and you can see that's formally recognized in the space, or reopen it for further discussion. So you can imagine how you could work through agenda or list of issues with the parties. And then if you wanted to formalize a resolution, that works in a very similar way. Next, we have the create agreement tool. So this enables you to structure a contract or agreement and send it to the recipients, who can review the contents and digitally accept through the platform. We also have the ability to create agreement templates in the settings of an account for an individual or an organization. So if you had any commonly used agreements or contracts, like an agreement to mediate or terms of settlement or confidentiality agreements, those could be loaded into the system and made available as starting points across all of your cases. You can load that template contract, make any changes you need to, and send that off really quickly to the recipients. And they'll be able to sign or digitally accept that agreement through the platform. Next, we have the create invoice tool. So there is a digital end-to-end billing cycle within the platform. So whether you're an organization or an individual dispute resolution professional, you can set up your incoming bank account details, and you can structure and send invoices for payment of services and fees or rates, and that can be done at any time. The recipient of your invoice will be able to pay really quickly and easily through the platform, and those funds will be automatically deposited in your nominated bank account with receipts and everything else handled automatically. You can also receive payment from any currency in the world, from any country in the world, and it will automatically be converted into your nominated local currency or currency of choosing. Next, we have the upload file tool. So this enables any participant in the space to securely upload and share any kind of file at all, whether it's a video file, an audio file, really large documents, any kind of file at all can be securely shared. And this can obviously take place while you're on a video call. So often in courts and tribunal settings, in a hearing, there might be a situation where late evidence is admitted in the matter, and it's a very convenient way to share that evidence with the recipients or whoever needs to see that in the case without having any delays. It can be done while on a video call, so that's very useful. If it's a video or audio file, you'll be able to preview it right within the stream, see images and open any kind of documents there as well. Next, we have the record video message tool. So I might just have to stop my video on Zoom, so apologies for that, just to demonstrate this. So the record video tool is a very flexible and useful one, and we're continually surprised with the use cases of it. I'll just give you an example of how it would work. So you can do as many takes as you like. This would be an example video. And if you're happy with the video, you can save and send it, or you can record it again. I'm just going to share this. So that video will now be made available to the recipients of that space. So if I was a solicitor for the applicant and I wanted to provide some instructions on my thoughts on the matter, I could do that privately in, say, the applicant space, and it wouldn't be visible to anyone else other than my client and perhaps counsel. If I was the mediator and I wanted to create a welcome video for the parties, once I've set up a case, I would do that in something like the everybody space, and everyone would be able to view that video at their convenience. So some other use cases where we are seeing prove useful would be to consider having the parties provide their opening statements in this format as opposed to a written format. And also, it's just a really useful supplement to times when you may not be able to get everyone together on a live video call. Perhaps there's scheduling issues or time zone issues. This still enables rich media, natural language communications to take place really efficiently. And another example is some really interesting applications we've seen in addressing some of the access to justice principles. So specifically around accessibility. And we found that if there were parties in a matter who would otherwise struggle with perhaps literacy issues or language issues, if you provide them the option to ingest instructions or information in natural language, like a video or audio message, and then they have the option to respond in natural language, they're able to do that really comfortably and quite enjoy that option. But they may have otherwise struggled with the written format, and it's proving a really effective but simple bridge for those kind of situations. So a really flexible tool and a lot of different use cases. The record audio message tool is very similar. I'll just give you a quick idea of how that works. This would be an example audio message. So again, you can do as many takes as you like, and then when you're satisfied, you can quickly share that message with the space, and whoever has access can view that at any time. So just going to keep moving through the tools that are available within the space. Next, we have the Create Form Request tool. Now, this enables you as a mediator, arbitrator, or organization to structure templated requests for information that you can deploy really quickly to the parties. So to give you an idea of what that means, I've sent a basic example here that would ask the party to please complete their details more fully. And once they complete that information, I'll be made aware, and that information will be made available to me. And the type of information you can gather is very flexible and only limited by your workflow. So it could be a set of triage questions or intake questions, or it could be a survey or feedback form at the end of the process, for example. You're able to structure any kind of templated request for information and deploy that really quickly. Next, we have the schedule an event tool. So this enables you to schedule anything in the platform. An obvious use case would be to schedule a hearing or mediation and get everyone together for that. But you can also use the tool in other ways, for example, to request that party B please provide their supporting evidence by Friday, for example. And when you, oh, apologies, getting mixed up with the times. When you schedule something, there will be platform notifications. Sorry, one second. I'm getting confused with the time zones on my end, but when you schedule something, there'll be platform notifications, and an email will also go out to the recipients. And within that email will be a button to add that event to their own calendar. So whether that's a Gmail or Outlook calendar or any other type, it enables you to add that event into your own workflow so that you don't have to manage another system, so to speak. And also in that event will be a link that you can click, and it will take you right to the space where the event was scheduled, so that it makes it really easy to bring parties together and back together at key points during a matter. So that's a fairly quick look at the different tools that are available within a space. There's a couple of other concepts that I'd just like to introduce. So if you click on the cases button in the main navigation at any time, you'll see all the cases that you are associated with, either as a mediator or arbitrator, or as an organization or admin. So just to give you an example of what that might look like with some more cases, I'll include my archived cases, and you can imagine you could see all your cases across your organization or your practice. And then from here, you have some options to filter your cases. So one of the more powerful is the tags model, which we briefly mentioned earlier. So if you've applied tags to your cases as a way to classify them, you can then filter all your cases so that you will only see those ones. Just apologies, I've just got to plug in. You'll only see those cases that classification refers to. So it makes it really easy to find what you're looking for, especially when you have a high volume of cases. Now, the other way you can, apologies, one other thing while we're here, there's also an export feature where you can export all the relevant case and platform data for a given period, and that will export into a CSV format, which is like an Excel worksheet format, a very standard format. And then you can manipulate or leverage that information however you like. So we make it really easy to get the platform and case data out of the platform to perhaps use for reporting purposes or whatever you need to do. Now, the other way you can find things in the platform is just with the search. And I think this is a fantastic search. It's just natural language, and it'll show you everything in the platform, whether it's people, spaces, cases, communications. It makes it really quick and easy to find what you're looking for. And you can just click on the thing and it'll take you right to where it exists in the platform. If it's a person, you'll be able to see their details and any cases that they're associated with. And you can just click on the thing and it'll take you right to where it exists in the platform. So it does make it really easy to find what you're looking for. Again, especially if you have a high volume of cases and many people that have been on your platform. The other option we have here is the inbox, and the idea here is that you'll receive notifications across all of your matters for anything important that might require your attention. And you can just click on the notification, and again, it'll take you right to where it exists in the platform so that you can check it out and interact with it if you need to. And if you don't happen to be online, logged into the platform, you'll also receive an email or SMS notification to the same effect. And you'll be able to click on the link. And again, it'll take you right to where the event exists in the platform for you to interact with. We also have dashboards, which are configurable. And the idea being that you'll want to see at a glance the things that matter most to you across your cases, so you can configure that to suit your needs. And then we also have settings for an account where, depending on your role, whether you're an organizational admin or a mediator or an arbitrator, you'll have varying levels of control here. You can set up your payment details, templates of different types. But also under the manage organization, we make it really easy to rebrand the entire platform. So I might just demonstrate how that works. It's very quick and easy. So step one would probably be to upload your logo for the organization. And that will replace everywhere you would normally see the Modron logo with your own. And then you can control the theme really quickly and easily. We have 3 starting point themes: dark, light, and blue. And then if you want to get into more control, you can click on custom. And from here, you're able to completely customize all the colors in the platform with granular control to completely match your brand. So when you do this, everything that yourself, your colleagues, parties to a case will see will be your own brand, and that will include all the login, registration pages, any emails that automatically go out from the platform. And it's also a really simple and quick process to integrate your platform into an existing website, so that parties to a case or team members, any other stakeholders, can actually log in to the platform via your own website. And then they're also seeing your brand throughout that whole process. So there's a real opportunity for seamless experience and a deep brand integration throughout the whole workflow. And you can also control security settings and a whole bunch of things from here. But I think that is a pretty good overview. We have moved through at a pretty high level, but that is an introduction to the main tools, features, and concepts within the platform. Moranika, I'm not sure if you wanted to field any questions at this stage.
Definitely. I'm sure we would have people who have questions. I have a few questions myself,
Sure.
but I would not want to start with myself. I would want to give others the opportunity to ask questions first. I have
Sure.
1 or 2 questions I'd like to ask. So if anyone has a question, can you please unmute yourself, or you can just indicate so that we can do it. We can take questions now based on what Nathan has shared with us. And thank you very much, Nathan.
Very welcome. Moranika, would you mind letting me know any questions? I can't see them at the moment.
Okay, well, I'll let you know. What I'll just do is I'll ask the persons to, well, you can either put your questions in the chat, or you can raise your hands and unmute yourself to ask your questions. Do we have any questions? Usually there could be a show of a raise of hands on the videos if there are any questions. Or else. My own question, maybe I should just jump in then, Nathan. But how many people can be on the video call at any point in time?
Right. So there is no technical limit on the number of people that can be on a call at any time. So we don't impose limits there. Perhaps there you might find somewhat of a practical limit in terms of managing the number of people on a call, because you know, that's really up to your own workflows. But you can have any number of people on a call, and then again, you could have any number of people on any call within all of your spaces. So it's very flexible. It really designed to suit any kind of case, regardless of the complexity or the number of participants that you have.
Because for instance, now we're on this Zoom call, and on my screen now I have about 15 people, so I could easily see 15 faces, and and you're still sharing your screen. So if I was in an arbitration, for instance, and we're like sharing a document, probably there was cross-examination going on and all of the parties were still there, would you still be able to have this kind of space and still have the documents and have about an average of how many faces could we see ideally?
Right. So yeah, so absolutely, you can have all the participants on a call and still be sharing documents. You know, we do find that I guess overwhelmingly we don't see more than say 20, 30 people on a call at once. You know, there are fringe cases, but overwhelmingly the platform's being used for mediations and arbitrations and hearings in courts and tribunals, and you know, there just doesn't, there aren't that many cases where there's like 100 people who need to be on a call at once.
Okay, so you could conveniently have maybe 10, 12 people on a call at once, up to about 20 people on the screen at once. That will work.
Absolutely, yeah.
And any
yes.
And any one of those people could actually like pin the picture of the person. For instance, it could be the arbitrator, it could be the counsel on the other side. Any one of them, for instance, in an arbitration hearing, any one of them could pin the speaker to actually get the cues that he or she needs with the feature you have.
Yes, yes, absolutely, Monica. So you can, if you're respondent counsel and you really want to see what the applicant's reactions to a line of questioning are, you can pin the applicant's view to have that in focus. So it's very flexible. Every user has that option and they can customize the view to suit their needs. There are those different video modes that we looked at as well. So you're free to kind of adjust the video call to suit the requirements of the case.
Okay. And that would also appear when a mediator really wanted to like move closer to a party, kind of in the online space, in online mediation. So it's not.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, even if you have many people on the call, you know, the person that's currently speaking can be the one that is in focus, or you can decide to pin any of the other participants and have a much more intimate view of them on the screen.
Okay. Great. Sorry, do we have any other questions?
Yes, I have a question. My question is, I want to find out, Nathan, how effective has it been, considering, you know, here the focus is on the conversation, communication, and communication has a lot to do with the non-verbal one. So how effective are you able to really pick out the non-verbal clues from you know, the disputants?
Right, that's a really interesting question. So I guess I would refer to our clients and partners' experiences in resolving disputes, because just a disclaimer, Modron is really a software development company and we don't actually provide dispute resolution services ourselves. But as you can imagine, we work closely with our clients, courts, tribunals, government departments, and individual dispute resolution professionals. And we find overwhelmingly that the fairly unique combination of communication options that we have in the platform really gives a lot of flexibility for a lot of different workflows, but certainly for common processes like hearings and mediations. It's very effective because you have the asynchronous and synchronous tools available to you, meaning that you can have live communications with the parties, which is video and audio, chat messaging, sharing a file, sharing of your screen all at once. But you can also, leading up to a matter, you can also leverage the other tools that can be used at any time, like the recorded messaging and the ability for the participants to log in at any time. So this platform offers more potential than just a defined meeting that takes place. A lot of resolution work and communication can take place upstream of a conference, a defined conference, and that opens up a lot of possibilities for early stage conflict resolution, perhaps conciliation and negotiation, perhaps upstream of a mediation or hearing. And we find that can really drive earlier resolutions and more effective resolutions and settlements when you take that wider angle view of a dispute resolution process. So I'm not sure if that answers your question.
I think I can jump in here, Nathan. And what I would ask you to do, if you would go back and turn off your video on Zoom and go back in there and show how you can pin. And then I think that would help to show Ayonam how you can actually look at the cues, because by the time you pin the video and the person is speaking, you can actually move. It's like you're moving closer to the person. So you can pull the person closer to you, and then you can read the body language and the cues that you want. If it demonstrates that to you, you will see that. And that's the beauty of this platform as opposed to so many. That's what I find. And that's why I actually asked him if that feature is available to everybody. Because if you are the judge in the case of an arbitrator who wants to take the witnesses and understand what the witnesses say and wants to move closer without being in the same space, or if you are the mediator and you just want to take and see because you want to even match. And that's why I said, if you see now, the way he's done the video, you can actually pull it back or pull it in. So that way you can see different views. You can have a closer view, person speaking. And that feature is available to anybody, whether you are the arbitrator or the mediator, or even counsel on the other side, in the case of arbitration when there is cross-examination going on.
Okay. That's great.
Thank you.
Thank you. Quite
Thank you for that question.
Interesting and insightful.
Thank you.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Do we have any other questions? Do we have any other questions from anybody? Well, I don't see any questions.
All right. I would like to know what space are we looking at, because we are talking about loading videos, loading documents, and a lot of things. So what space are we looking at if I want to use the software?
In terms of how do you perhaps try it out? Is that what you mean?
Yes.
Yep. Okay, so sorry, it's just breaking up a little bit for me. Can you just repeat that last one?
All right, I'm talking about in terms of megabytes.
Oh, okay. I think it's about the bandwidth. Nathan is talking about the bandwidth that will be required, because we have issues with our bandwidth in Africa. So we would want to be sure. And I know that you have a new feature that actually tries out if it will work before you start the meeting. I think you just introduced us. So maybe you can explain that a bit.
Sure. So firstly, to Moronik's point, we do have a test link that at any time you can run on your device, and it'll very quickly perform a hardware and bandwidth test and give you a report on how ready you would be for a good video call experience. Excuse me. But we've also taken great care and invested.
Do that. Can you share? Is that something you can share to just give a feel of how that works? Even if it's just to show what the link looks like on your computer. Just so that
it might be a little bit difficult for me to pull up without jumping into my emails and perhaps exposing.
That's
Monica, but I can provide that so we can send it to the audience members after, if you like.
Okay, that's fine.
But I was just going to add that we have invested really heavily on reducing heavily the bandwidth required for video calls on this platform. So we actually achieved this year a 110% reduction in the bandwidth required for video calls. And that enables not only for video calls to obviously take place with good quality on lower level internet, but it also enables you to be on a call and also upload large files and use all the other tools at the same time. So we have taken great care to make the most of your internet connection.
And what will that internet connection level be? That's his question.
Right. So it does depend on, I guess, the number of people on a call. That increases the bandwidth required for every stream, but we require 350 kilobytes per second for effective video calls, which is quite low. And that again, you can also upload very chunky files, very large files while you're on a video call as well, and that won't interrupt your video call experience. So we find that we have been working with partners in Africa and in India and other regions that typically have lower levels of internet in regions, and through that reduction in bandwidth work we've performed, we're seeing really great results on some of the lowest level of internet that you're likely to see.
Thanks.
I think it would also be nice to talk about the security features because, of course, confidentiality is a great, it's a biggie for most dispute resolution practitioners. So it would be nice to talk about your
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Monica. So firstly, I guess from a technical perspective, everything that happens within the platform is encrypted in an end-to-end way. So all the voice and video is fully encrypted end-to-end, and all of the documents that you share, the text messaging, everything that happens in the platform is heavily encrypted. In addition, all the participants in a matter are securely onboarded to a matter. So, for example, each participant will get a unique onboard link that's just for them, and that when that's provided to them, that really prevents the risk of anyone who's not supposed to have access to the case gaining access. We do have multi-factor authentication, which can be turned on for the platform as well. So we really take care, well, we've always taken really great care and focus on security and privacy and confidentiality in the platform. And then when you also logged in, there's also the separate privacy and confidentiality controls within each space as well. So we make it information that they're not supposed to. So it's a really, I'd say it's the #1 concern that we've had in developing the platform is privacy, confidentiality, and security.
Thank you, Nathan. Do we have any other questions?
Very well.
Yes.
I have a question.
I do. I'm also thinking how is it possible to add some features to the platform to enable training, ADR training?
Right. Yeah. Well, we're always working on the platform, and we're always keen to hear from the industry ideas and suggestions, and that really shapes our roadmap and what we're working on. I would say that we have quite a number of partners and clients who do use the platform for ADR training quite successfully, including, you know, we have a lot of interest in the competition space as well at the moment, so online mediation competitions and so on. But we find that it's very well suited to training because with the spaces, you can break up groups and you can very easily and effectively conduct role play, practical training.
Exactly.
Yeah, so while we would be very interested to hear any ideas you had for improving the training component, we do have a lot of clients who are using it successfully in that regard. A lot of universities are using it in their legal studies and dispute resolution courses, and it's something that the students kind of universally enjoy, because it's a very practical way of learning. Again, that role play functionality is a great way to learn. So it's something we're really interested in supporting further.
Okay. Okay.
Thank
So
you.
perhaps I'll have to contact the two of you,
Yeah.
to find out how we can collaborate, to link it to some training.
Yeah.
A few people have contacted me to be for training in ADR.
Yes.
So I'm thinking this will be very useful, platform to do that.
Yes, we'd love to have a further discussion. And I might just add, Moronika, that if anyone is interested, would you please make our contact details available? And if anyone has any questions or questions or thoughts, we'd love to hear from you.
Okay.
And just also just to mention, if anyone was interested in playing around with the platform, we do offer 7-day free trials where you can sign up on our website and get full access to the platform for experimenting and trying everything out as well.
We actually have a link on the ODR Africa website already to your.
Perfect.
Yeah, we already have that, and we have that information. So it's all good.
Excellent.
Yeah,
someone else had a question.
Hello, Mrs. Obi Faride. Hello, Nathan. I think the gentleman earlier on, it was something that I was also interested in. Okay. I think what he was asking was about the capacity in terms of how to have a better user experience. You download the Zoom app. So I thought he was asking with regards how many gigabytes or megabytes of space was required. That's what I thought anyway he was asking. It was also something that I was interested in knowing.
Okay. Well, I guess it's important to point out that this platform is completely cloud-based, and so that you don't ever have to install anything. There's no plugins or installs, and all you need is a modern browser and a modern device. You can switch between, say, your computer or laptop, a tablet, and a phone seamlessly without having to install anything. And whatever device you log in, everything will be up to date and in the same state. So we've actually gone down that path and invested heavily in removing the requirement for parties to install anything, because we see that as a little bit of a potential hurdle for some users. Especially, it would be okay for mediators and arbitrators and organizations because they're using it all the time. But if parties to a matter are perhaps going to log into the platform for one matter in the year, requiring them to install something can be a bit of a hurdle. So you don't need to install anything with this platform.
Thank you. Thank you for that.
Maybe what we should also say is that if you are invited, you are a party, or you have anything to do, you get an invite through your email, and you just click on the link. And it's that same link that also tests your capacity and your user experience. That's what I will share afterwards. So that lets you know if your device and your bandwidth will give you a good user experience even before you get in. So it also allows us as ADR practitioners to know whether the platform will fit the kind of parties that we're dealing with. Because if you have a party that does not have good internet access, of course, you would already know that he will not be able to take part. And you don't want a situation where you have an imbalance in between on both sides. So that's also the beauty of that test link that you get. And you get it once you get the invite to join a space. Whether you are the mediator, you are the case manager, or you are the party, you always get that invite. And it goes directly into your email. So it's only for you. And it's, as Nathan has said, it has a two-level secure system. So it's not just that because it's in your email, someone gets it and flies with it.
Thank you, Monique.
So do we have any other questions? Well, it's supposed to be for just 1 hour. If we don't have any other questions, I think the only thing left for us to say is to say thank you to Nathan because it is about 10 p.m. his time. It's 9 hours. Well, it's about 11 p.m. his time now. It's 9 hours ahead of us, and he had to stay up to join us this night. Well, it's for us, it's afternoon, but for him, it is way past his bedtime. But
it's my pleasure. It's my pleasure. I really appreciate everyone making the time. That's fantastic, and thank you. And again, if anyone has any questions or thinks we can assist in any way, please don't hesitate to reach out. I'm sure our contact details will be made available. So thank you, everyone. I really appreciate it.
I think Mrs. Akiwumi, is she available to just finish? She's available to just say thank you.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Well, I think first I must apologize that I unfortunately can't have my video on. I'm not in a position to do that at the moment. Well, Mr. Bifarinde already said thank you to Nathan, but I would just like to re-echo that to say a big thank you to Nathan. I know we exchanged a few emails. With the time difference, I know that at different times, you were getting my emails at all times. So I'd like to say a big thank you for accepting the invitation to speak to us at this webinar. And already from questions and comments, I can say very clearly that participants have had an insightful session. So I really, really must thank you. And Morenica has said it, it's probably past your bedtime, Nathan. Thank you for obliging us. And thank you for leaving the window open for people to make further contacts and have possible practice sessions if they need to. I would also like to thank all the participants that have taken time out to join the webinar this afternoon. I wish you all the very best. And I have no doubt that things will continue to get better as we get along in our practice of ADR and ODR. Thank you, everyone, and have a good afternoon. And good night to Nathan. Thank you, Nathan.
Thank you, Just thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Nathan. Okay. We actually have the link to Nathan's website on ODR Africa website. So you can actually get your tests, the 1-week test on ografrica.com if you want.
Okay.
Now, I'll be in touch with you, Ayonam, so that we can.
Okay. Okay, I'll be looking forward to hearing from you. Nathan, thank you so much. We appreciate you. We'll be getting in touch.
I look forward to it.
I'm sure Ghana is fine, and you don't have the bug that we have in Nigeria. And we pray that that also will pass over us and we'll have peace in Nigeria soon.
Oh yes, I see it as a passing cloud. It will soon pass away.
Amen.
And you know that, Ghanaians and Nigerians, we are with you and we are praying with you.
Thank you so
much.
So
it is well.
Thank you.
It is well.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye.
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 Bye. Bye.